I quickly learned, Jack, over the years that most people don't understand how to generate wealth. They don't understand assets or money or time, which are all tools that can be used to build wealth. And if you're a young man, okay, and I have kids that are in the working world, and I would give them the same advice. Get started. Get started now. Get started now. It's never too late to get started.
Hey there, and welcome to another episode of the Jack Bosch Show, where we talk about all things real estate, finance, and entrepreneurship. And today, we're going to talk about hard assets and hard money for hard times, how you can build your hard asset castle, hard asset empire. And my guest is Ben Reinberg. Ben is a extremely experienced commercial real estate investor, really specializes in making sense of complex deals and has a host of experience in that space. And he just is about to publish a brand new book with the exact title that I just told you. So first of all, Ben, welcome to the show.
Jack, thank you so much for having me. What a privilege, and really appreciate you having me on today. And I look forward to adding a lot of value to your audience and help them build their hard asset empire, as we say here at Alliance.
Hard asset empires. I like that. So tell us about you, first of all, a little bit, who you are, what have you done, what do you currently do? And then we'll jump obviously into the message here about how to build hard asset for hard times.
Jack, about 3 decades ago, I started in commercial real estate as a principal. I've always been a principal. I'm not a broker. We've built over 12 million square feet of office and industrial. I'm an office, industrial, and retail expert. We built a tremendous amount of product. We've owned retail as well. And then about 2 decades ago, on my 30-year career, we decided to get into medical office and become a leader in medical office investing. And so what we do is we make high net worth accredited investors and family offices a tremendous amount of money by investing in our funds and our syndications. And so we've been doing it a long time. We have a great track record. In 2024, we decided to get into the multifamily space. We opened up a multifamily division. We also opened up a hard money lending division as well. And then in the second quarter of this year, we're going to open back up industrial, because we have a lot of industrial experience, and we do own industrial, Jack, and we'll be expanding in that space as well. We think there's a lot of opportunities in industrial, especially multifamily as well. So I just got back from the multifamily conference in Las Vegas with one of my gentlemen that runs that division, and I'm really excited about what's forthcoming for us in the multifamily space. So that's what I do. I'm strictly a principal. We have a great leadership team with 200 plus years of leadership team experience, Jack. And I've been an entrepreneur. I've been in commercial real estate my entire career for over half my life. I'm 55. And so if you can only imagine, most of my life has been knee deep in commercial real estate. I am an expert in it. I do a tremendous amount of mentoring. People come to me. I have a blog that goes out to a tremendous amount of people on a weekly basis. And I teach a lot of lessons. I teach the lessons of, there's something about entrepreneurship and real estate that are very similar that no one talks about. And you really need to know what you stand for and be an example in entrepreneurship. And it goes the same thing in real estate, commercial real estate, like you and I are in. The other thing is important is you need to build a foundation. Having a foundation is so important. And all these things kind of led into why I wrote this upcoming book, because I wanted to give back. And then the third thing I talk about is building a team. Like at Alliance, we have an incredible team. And a lot of companies in commercial real estate have wonderful teams in order to grow and expand and scale. And then more importantly, you need to execute and deliver on what you say you're going to do, and build a track record and be people of your word, and express when things are tough, and tell people the good and the bad, and how you communicate with investors. And the other thing that's important is you have to measure often, and don't be afraid to pivot if things change, like environment change. Our environment has changed. To us to get into multifamily was a big step, and to expand that platform for our investors and new investors. So you have to measure the market, you have to measure your performance, and sometimes you have to pivot. Just like we did 20 years ago when we got into medical office, I thought we were going to buy skyscrapers and large office campuses. That's where I thought my career was going to be similar to what Sam Zell was in Chicago to me. And things changed. The internet changed the world. The way we did business changed, and we didn't need as much office space. So we said, well, we're not going to buy skyscrapers anymore, Jack. We're going to get into medical office. And medical office would flourish, would become a leader. And lastly, what I say is the lessons in entrepreneurship and real estate that are very similar to me is, and I want everyone to hear this, you always have to keep learning and keep growing in life, because that's the secret of staying in this business for such a long time. And so I've been blessed to be in commercial real estate for 30 years and be successful. And now it's my time, Jack, where I'm going to give back. And this book is really important to me because it's part of my way and my legacy to teach people how to build a hard asset empire, just like I have.
All right, so let's dive right into that. I 100% agree with everything you said. That's and there's a lot more to unpack, but instead of me going into unpacking what you just said, I'm going to circle in later on into some of the things that you mentioned and bring out some more details. But I want to know about the book. Tell us about the book. What is it about, and what triggered you to write it? And particularly if the title is Hard Assets and Hard Money for Hard Times, obviously I want to know what is your expectation of the future, because obviously you're expecting some hard times to come. Otherwise you wouldn't write the book that has the title Hard Assets for Hard Times in it, essentially.
I think if anyone's been in commercial real estate a long time, there's cycles. You're going to go through hard times. It's not necessarily that we are in hard times. There will be some hard times for some people with loans coming due in 25, 26, as we all know, with the billions and trillions of dollars of loans coming due. But in reality, if you've been in business long enough, and people out there that want to be in real estate, especially commercial real estate as well, you're going to go through hard times. Things aren't perfect. So the book is called Hard Assets and Hard Money for Hard Times. And it took us over a year. A year ago, I thought of the concept. And Jack, I wanted to write this book because every single day, I'm asked to take a look at someone's portfolio, give my feedback on an investment, or ask, how does someone get into real estate? I am asked so many times all over the place, everywhere I travel, Ben, how do I get into real estate? How do I do what you do? And I quickly learned, Jack, over the years that most people don't understand how to generate wealth. They don't understand assets or money or time, which are all tools that can be used to build wealth. And most of all, Jack, people did not know about investing in medical properties like we do. So I was determined that I was going to be the go-to expert in medical real estate. That was something I really wanted to do, to provide that service to people. And as we went on this journey, acquiring a large portfolio of medical properties, I was shocked and surprised of how many doctors I met never knew about you can invest in medical properties. And so once I wrote the book, I knew I needed to take it another step further and teach people how to build a hard asset empire. And that's what it's about. And so people say, well, what is a hard asset empire? Because it's more than just commercial real estate, what I do. I'm involved in other things as well. It's a place where someone can generate and retain and defend and compound their wealth. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to create this fortress for everyone that they can build and keep building on. And so I create a vehicle.
So retain, give me the three things again. You said
right? So here's what a hard asset empire, I'll repeat it again. It's a place where someone can generate, retain, defend, and compound their wealth.
All right. I love those four things. So guys, write that down.
Imagine a castle. And I encourage everyone, if you're looking to build wealth, generational wealth, this book is exactly that. And I'll explain why I wrote it as well. So for us, Jack, I wanted to create a vehicle to help people build and create generational wealth for their families. It was important to me. And to make this so easy, what I ended up doing is I ended up providing in the book a hard asset empire blueprint within the book. That way you can take the blueprint. It's timeless. You could have this forever. And you could take the blueprint and start building your hard asset empire. And it's the hard asset empire blueprint, Jack, is so important because it's a tool that I developed to make it simple yet powerful for a personalized and individual and revisable snapshot. It's on one piece of paper. It's a one picture thing. It's on a simple piece of paper that you can keep for future generations, building on top of a rock solid foundation today, tomorrow, and for generations to come. This is part of the reason why I wrote this book. I wanted to be able to educate not only my story and how I done it, but also how you can do it and start building a foundation. That way, as you go through generations, you could stack on your fortress and protect it and defend it.
All right. So give us some tactical things. So how does one start? Like, how does one start with this? If you have, let's say it's a young person starting out in life and has no background in it, no silver spoon, no nothing, just perhaps got a college degree, perhaps even as a student debt and just getting started in life. How do they go about this? What's kind of the pillars around it?
Yeah, the pillars,
and of course, there's a lot more detail in the book. So I don't we're not going to be able to cover everything that's in the book here, but give me the pillars here.
But just to make it simple, if you go to benreinberg.com/book, you could pre-order it before it comes out.
Wonderful
copy, because a lot of people want a copy of this. And so what it is in the book, it talks about the different hard assets you can invest in, whether it's gold, silver, commercial real estate, other types of real estate, cryptocurrency, you name it. And so pick a hard asset that you're passionate about, that you like, that maybe, whether it's conservative, you want to be aggressive. And if you're a young man, okay, and I have kids that are in the working world, and I would give them the same advice. I would say every month, let's say you have a job, okay, you're young, you're working for an employer, take a portion of your paycheck every month, be conservative, and put a portion of that disposable income you have, whether it's $50 or $100, and start investing in hard assets. It could be you might want to invest in gold or silver. You might want to put some money in crypto. You might want to put some money in a bond. You might want to invest in a platform that can take real estate or commercial real estate. You might say, hey, I want to partner with someone that has capital, like Ben Reinberg, and I want to go buy a property, and maybe he'll fund it and I'll run the property, or maybe I'll live there. Maybe it's a 2-unit, a 3-unit, which you could understand. And I'll live in one of the units. I'll manage the property and start building my hard asset empire. When you're younger, you got to be a little bit more creative. There's a lot of different ways to get involved. But I always tell people, live below your means. Don't spend everything you have. Take that beer money you're going out with your buddies and say to yourself, hey, maybe I could be a little bit more frugal and use that to start building assets. When you start young building assets, that's a key, because it gets you in the habit, Jack, of constantly putting away money and putting into hard assets. Hard assets are a great way to start building your empire. You get tax benefits on some hard assets, and you learn from experience. And if you want to be an entrepreneur and go out on your own, starting young is really important. And I started young, and there wasn't as much information out in the marketplace like there is now. And so I felt compelled, and I said, you know what? If I could take a young man or woman and get them higher in the learning curve, or even someone who's an investor of ours and they're extremely wealthy, they can use the blueprint and say, you know what? I want to restructure how I do things. I want to take his skills and help me grow my empire. So as a young man or anyone out there looking to grow your empire, start with hard assets and look at, what are you comfortable with? How much commitment can you make? And what do you want to do? So, for example, we have thousands of high net worth investors that invest in Alliance and our funds and our syndications all over the country. We own property. And investing passively is a great way to start your hard asset empire. So if you're young and you got a little money and you can invest with a sponsor like Alliance, that's another great way, because I always tell people, you get rewarded for focus in life, okay? And investing in medical, and I gave my webinar today. I do a monthly webinar for people all over the world. And part of the conversation that came up today is investing with smart money. And so if you're a doctor, for example, and you're a heart surgeon, I'm not a heart surgeon. That's not my niche. My niche is, and one of our niches is investing in medical properties. So pick your niche, become the expert. And if you're going to invest passively because you're in a different profession, you're a professional or insurance broker, or you work for a large corporation, or whatever you do, you're an entrepreneur in the tech business, or whatever you do, you want to invest with smart money. And taking that knowledge is saying, I'm going to invest passively because it's a full-time commitment to invest in commercial real estate. You got to be deep in the water to create success. You got to have relationships. You got to be on the ball. You got to deal with problems and tenant improvements and leases and financing and your lenders and in different environments. It's
Tell
a lot
me about it. Yeah.
it's a lot of work. So my advice is, if you want to get involved in hard assets, especially commercial real estate, invest passively, invest with a great sponsor, understand how they deal with challenges, and you'll start being able to create a future and build your hard asset empire.
Very, very true. Like it's the eternal thing. Like live below your means, and then instead of going and blowing it, go invest that money into something that is actually going to be there in the future. Now, how about somebody that's already older? Like somebody's older and then kind of had their come to Jesus moment, perhaps in their 50s, 60s. And by the way, we're the same age. I'm actually finally somebody's on a podcast who's just probably a few months older than I am. I'm turning 55 this year. So how does somebody catch up on if they feel like they're behind?
Well, it's a great question. And I'm sure people out there are listening and thinking about that, saying, Ben, well, I'm a lot older. I'm your age or a little bit younger. Get started. Get started now. Get started now. It's never too late to get started, and start thinking about, maybe you've never invested in commercial real estate. Maybe I got to call Alliance and say, hey, how do I get in the Alliance Medical Fund that's conservative, profitable investing with tax benefits? So start somewhere, take capital, start coming up with a plan. How do you secure the plan? You got to do some asset protection or some estate planning if you need to. If you have kids or a family, have you done that yet? What kind of insurance policies do you have? Do you need them? And start looking at your disposable income and your savings and say, how can I grow my asset base so maybe I don't have to work as hard? Maybe I want to retire in 10 years, wherever you're at. But it's never too late to start. I think the biggest misnomer with people is they say, I can't do anymore. I'm too old. I just completely botched it and I should have started younger, and they start regretting. Instead of saying, you know what? People are living longer, Jack.
Yeah.
People are taking better care of themselves. And it's never too late. It's never too late because you're building a foundation not only for yourself and your immediate family, but also for future generations. So my advice to people is get started, and they can reach out and read the book. It'll help you start building your hard asset, and look at the blueprint. It'll start teaching you, how do I establish the foundation? How do I stack and build on top of it? And the reason why it took so long to write is because I want people to be able to take this book, and I don't care if they know me or not, but the ability to help change their lives. And anything that I've learned rubs off on someone and it helps change their life, I've done my job. And so Wonderful. That's why I wrote the book. I created it. It's a big educational piece. It was a labor of love. It was a tremendous amount of work. But one thing I know for sure is it's going to have a great impact on people. And it's one of those books that you'll keep on the bookshelf that when you want to go back to it, Jack, and you want to refer to something or just, get an idea or feel comfort, that's what it's for. It's one of those timeless books that will be evergreen for people.
Good. And I think you said that you can go back to benreinberg.com/book.
/book. Yeah, /book.
/book.
They could pre-order it. I think they pre-order now. The pricing is probably down right now. And so it's pretty good. And here's the other thing that people are doing, why people have ordered a lot of them. There's a lot of financial planners and RIAs and insurance brokers and mortgage brokers and bankers and attorneys. It's a great gift because it shows you care because of what the book is about and building wealth for someone. It's a great gift. When you give that book as a gift, it really shows a lot about you and your character. So we've had people buy hundreds of them, pre-order, because they're like, I want to give them out to my clients.
Sure, makes all sense.
Yeah.
Let me get into something. Let me get into a little bit of more of the meat here, and that is, for example, the book title has the word for hard times in it. Why did you put that into book title? Are you expecting hard times in this world? Are you expecting, what is this referring to?
Well, what it refers to is anytime you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, and you invest, you're always going to go through hard times. You're going to go through rising interest rate markets. You're going to go through recessions. You're going to go through wars. You're going to go through instability. You're going to go through inflation. You're going to go through different government administrations. And so the list goes on and on. And there are people out there that are struggling. There's people out there that can't put food on the table. There's people that inflation hasn't crushed them. There's people where they just came out with a new act that the president signed in where people have lost family members because of open borders. There's always tough times in this country and around the world. And how you can protect yourself and really develop freedom is by building a hard asset empire. And that's why I wrote the book. It's not about that we're going to have hard times. We've had hard times. The last 4 years have been a nightmare for people, with people that have struggled to put food on the table. Energy prices are through the roof. People can't even commute to work. And so I felt compelled and say, well, if I could teach people how to build a hard asset empire and make life a little bit easier during hard times means a lot of different things to people. And
very good. Yeah. No, I was wondering what it meant to you, and that was pretty clear. And I agree. And like hard times as an entrepreneur comes in many different ways, and even as a non-entrepreneur comes in different ways. And it's a fantastic idea to build up hard assets that will survive no matter what. I always like to say, obviously, I'm for 25 years in the real estate space. And I always like to, when I'm from Germany, we love going to Europe. So every time I'm like in Italy or so, I'm walking to Florence or I'm walking to Rome, I'm looking at the buildings. That's like Rome was the largest empire the world has ever seen. And it hasn't been for something like 1,500 years already. But the buildings are still standing.
That's right.
The roads are still there. So if somebody just held on to those hard assets through the path of time, and obviously not to 1,500 years, nobody lives that long, but to generations that stayed in the family, they're sitting on billions of dollars worth of land, of houses, if they held on to the right kind of houses, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of houses and real estate, because it withstood the path of time. And no matter what happens, there were times when probably Rome was a crap show of a city. It was just like probably people left Rome because it wasn't hit anymore. The same thing is true for New York City. New York City had some times during its history where nobody wanted to invest anything in New York City, but it always comes back. So hard assets for hard times makes perfect sense. Now, I want to dive into a couple of things that you have mentioned about your path. So you guys invest those things. So how many buildings, how much assets under management do you guys have? What kind of like, what has Alliance built in terms of like a size of a business?
Well, we've done billions of dollars of deals in our career.
And what is your typical business model? Is it buy and build? Or is it buy the land, build it, development? Is it buy existing properties? Is it more like the turn model, like with the value add? Is it buy and hold? Is it what's your typical guys' business model?
Well, if you take the Alliance Medical Fund, we have different business models for different product types. So we've built from raw land, we've entitled land, we've done all different types of transactions as principals through our career. Right now, if you take currently what's going on, we're buying existing medical buildings for the Alliance Medical Fund. It's a fairly new fund, and there'll be existing assets that we can add value to. And we'll probably have anywhere from 20 to 25 assets in that fund. And then we'll sell the fund to an institution. And we're currently raising money for that fund. We've invested about half of it already. And what's the thinking behind that? What's the thinking behind that investment strategy? Why medical assets? Well, like I always say, the human body is never going out of style. And when there's chaos in the market and you're looking for a safe, secure, profitable type investment, medical office is great. Great tax benefits, We do cost seg studies on our
But
product.
essentially, it's because, I mean, people always get sick. People need medical studies. Probably the location-wise, you're looking for them close to hospitals and so on, I would assume.
Well, it depends on the use and what it is. I mean, some are off campus. More properties are off campus now than on campus because of the costs. It costs these physicians and the hospitals to have off campus properties. They also want to be closer to the communities that they're serving too, these bedroom communities.
Mm-hmm.
But part of what's really important about medical properties is that it's very specialized. It's a high barriers to entry game to get in because you really have to have relationships with hospital systems. You have to understand how to underwrite these properties, which is extremely challenging at times. There's a lot of variables you got to get your arms around.
What makes it challenging?
Well, it makes it challenging is why are they there? How they serve the community? How are they affiliated with the community? What type of licensing do they need to be at that particular place? Do they have other locations? How's the rent compared to market? Why are they there? How much money have they put into the property? So there's a lot of variables you got to get your arms in. That's just a few of many. And then how are they intertwined with the hospital system? Are they owned by the hospital? Are they sold to a hospital system? Are they independent? How many doctors they have? What's the dynamic of the group? What services do they provide compared to their competition? There's a lot of variables you have to get your arms around. But when you do, and you're in this business full time, it's a lot easier. That's why it's hard to be in this business full time, part time as a medical officer.
No, that's why it's a great people like hard assets. Again, we bring the book back in. Like that's why you mentioned earlier, like passive investment makes sense. There's certain investments that I tell people, unless you're willing to go full time into this, like multifamily is one of them. I like it's not worth it doing this part-time because you won't even know how to properly read financials and you'll be eaten alive in the process. You need to manage a lot of these assets in harder times. Like multifamily is not the easiest to manage right now. The times of large rent increases are over, at least for a couple of years. And in population influx into some metro areas is booming, yet there's nothing, but yet there's at the same time lots of new product coming in. It's a challenging environment right now to manage multifamily, and if you don't do it expertly and if you don't do it dedicatedly, you get eaten alive. So I'm 100% with you that it's much better in many cases to invest passively in those kind of things and still build yourself a fortress, a hard asset fortress, as you say so pointedly, and without having to have the management responsibility and having bought yourself another high complex job. But so it's like that's why I'm interested in like the medical kind of like, since you're an expert on that. That's one of these kind of classifications. I don't know anything in the medical. I don't know anything about it. I've been offered it and I didn't know how to analyze it, to be honest, because again, all those kind of details, like the relationship to the hospital or the relationship to the insurance companies, is crucial for you to know. Are they making money? Are they making a lot of money, a little money? Are they about to make less money? Is this a declining kind of thing? Is this an up and coming kind of thing? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah, I mean, and for us, it's a steep learning curve, medical properties, and a lot of commercial real estate, especially if you're not in full-time business. So it leans back to my previous comment is, you get rewarded for focus in life. And if someone wants to get into commercial real estate as an investor and sit in my shoes, you got to be deep in the water. That's why people invest with us passively, because it's challenging. It's a lot of work. We deal with challenges every single day in all regards, and markets change as well. And you have to be a finance guru and expert and understand debt and how it aligns with your specific investments. And so it's a tremendous amount of work, amount of knowledge you need, and a learning curve. We have 200 plus years of leadership team experience outside Ben Reinberg, me. And so you could see that's what we offer to investors. So you're leveraging, and I always say is leverage into smart money. And so for me, if I'm investing in technology, I'm not going to do it myself. I'm gonna engage or invest with people that have a good track record and similar analysis of how people invest in Alliance. So it's no different. So I tell everyone,
talking about that, what do you think? What do you think? Like, how is technology impacting real estate these days? Positive, negative, neutral?
Well, I think it's got a lot of different impact. I mean, we use technology heavily in our company, and
What kinds of technology?
well, we use all different types of software for analysis. We use software to for all different types of financial reporting. We were one of the first companies, Jack, in the United States to create an investor portal, which I'm very proud of, which is heavily in technology. We use technology to raise equity. We use technology to manage properties as well. And we're very heavily into AI. AI has been very instrumental in helping us with property management, acquisitions, communications, in all our resources.
How do you use AI in property management?
Well, AI and property management helps you be efficient for us. So for us, we're able to use it where you use AI to project or determine issues that are going to happen at specific properties. We used it for maintenance as well. So there's all different uses. My property management division uses AI.
Mm-hmm. For maintenance, AI for maintenance. Help me connect those dots.
Help you connect those dots. Well, they have AI that they've developed to basically have people that are AI that can respond to maintenance requests.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So the assistant thing, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's really allowed us to streamline operations and processes in the commercial real estate space using AI. So AI has been a tremendous asset. Now, technology also has its downside. Number one, it brings in competition and makes people feel that they can do what we do, and it ends up tarnishing the business in some ways. But also the other thing is some of the downside is, eliminates human capital at times. You still need human capital with AI, but there's certain positions that you can have AI kind of take over the ability where you don't need certain positions in your company, which we've seen. So the benefits is cost savings. The downside is, it's going to replace people's jobs, Jack. So at the end of the day, it can be concerning. Also with technology, I feel that it impedes and hurts some of the young generation's communication styles. Like you and I come from a Generation X, where, it was shoe leather, it was stamps and envelopes and picking up the phone and like this thing that I'm going to show you right here. This is an anomaly. I have my own office phone still with multiple lines and everything. Everyone uses their cell phones in business. And so for me, we used to have fax machines when I was first growing up in business, and all these things you and I used to do, that gets thrown out the window. And so what ends up happening is the younger generation used to texting and messaging, and there's no picking up the phone anymore. To get my kids to pick up the phone is like pulling teeth at times. And so it's no different. They're in their 20s. And so the younger folks that work for us, we'd preach, hey, pick up the phone. Because commercial real estate, and we all know this, is a very relationship type business.
Very much so.
And you can't ignore it. You can't ignore. I was at a conference this week. It was more relevant than anything in person. And so at the end of the day, if you're not willing to improve your communication, and like I said, learning and growing is important to be an entrepreneur or a real estate owner, that communication's everything. It equals wealth. And so for communication, you need to constantly be improving. Well, if you're just sending messages or emails, you might not get the message across. It's one thing that drives me nuts is people that won't pick up the phone and call me.
And that brings us right back to the reason why you probably wrote the book, because with the advent of and acceleration, 500 miles an hour advent of AI, then most people don't even see how much it's going to change everything we do. There's going to be hard times for some people coming up. Like there's word. I mean, I've been preaching this to in our live events for years that there's robotic people say like, well, I'm a doctor, it's not going to affect me. There's robot surgeons that are already doing better surgery than humans on soft tissue, which supposed to be is very, very hard. I look outside my house and right over there, just 2 minutes ago, a Waymo driverless taxi drove by, picking somebody up in a cul-de-sac in a mountainous kind of area where we live here, and there's nobody inside. So people thinking like, I can always become an Uber driver. You got a few years before Uber is 100% driverless, right? So attorneys are like, wow, law schools are here overrun by students right now. Everyone wants to become an attorney right now. Well, guess what? ChatGPT already has an IQ that is close to Einstein's. So another few years from now, they have absorbed every case law in the world, in the United States, and they will be able to provide you with better documents, better legal opinions, and better responses and better legal analysis than 90% of all the attorneys out there. So there's going to be, at the same time, humongous opportunities, but from that's going to be a change from one time to another. But what's most likely not going to change is the need for people to have a place to live, for the people to go to the doctor, whether there's a robot doctor, but you still need to come into a surgery somewhere. You still need to go get your skin cancer taken care of, or if you have skin moles, you still need to go have certain things done. So medical office space in an aging society is right there and important. Multifamily in a growing society is very important, where we live longer and we have also population growth is important. And so building hard assets for hard times is a very, very good thing to think about. So I already went on your website. I already pre-ordered the book while we were talking. I went over. I want to read it, and I would recommend everyone else, guys, go get the book. A book is always, there's always, I trust that it's a great book, but there's always a few things that in every book stand out. And every book is worth reading, because if you pay attention, you'll always get a lot of it out of it. And this particular one, with your experience and with your background, I'm sure is a fantastic book. I can't wait to read it myself.
Yeah, and what it's going to allow you to do, it's going to allow you to think and reflect. And that's what I want people to do. I want people to think and reflect and say, what do I need to do to build my hard asset empire? What do I need to do to protect my family? And so for me, it was really important to get the message around is that just take the time to think. And if I get you to think and it creates some sort of great reaction, whether it's emotional, maybe it relates to reflect and you get sad, whatever it is, if I can create that emotion to you to think, and I can help you change your life, then I've done my job. That's what the book is about. It's about helping people and creating that impact and really showing people how you can easily build a hard asset empire. But you got to get started. Doesn't matter what age you are, just pull the trigger and get started.
Right, exactly right. So with that said, again, can you give us the website one more time?
If you go to www.benreinberg.com, you can just go on my site. You can pre-order the book. You can follow me on all social media platforms. If you want to learn more about my company, you can go to alliancecgc.com. You can also feel free, come on our webinars every month. And also I have a brand new TV show out called Ben Reinberg, I Own It. It's a spinoff from my podcast. We're in season 2. We just filmed season 2. Season 1 was called Leverage. You can watch it on YouTube. Season 2, Obsessed. Season 1 will be on streaming 1,400 channels around the world soon. And then you'll be able, and then season 2, which is called Obsessed, of the I Own It show, will be streaming as well shortly. And then we'll be filming season 3 sometime this year. So
very cool. And with that said, that's a wrap, guys. So I love that. Again, hard assets and hard money for hard times. Love that. I think everyone can see, has had hard times in their life, is going to have some hard times in your life. And I couldn't agree with that. That's exactly represents the investment approach that Michelle and I had. We came to this country with nothing. We came with 2 suitcases, a bunch of student debt, and big dreams. And today we've built up a beautiful portfolio of different hard assets, which allow us to really have our American dream come true. And here's a book that explains to you how to do that. So go get it. And with that said, thank you very much, Ben. That's a wrap.
Thank you, Jack.
All right. Thanks here, everyone. As always, give us those 5-star reviews, share with your friends, go get this particular book, and I'll see you in the next show.